Okay, so with the playoffs looming literally right around the corner, playoffs start tomorrow. You'll probably be seeing this the day of the playoffs beginning. I wanted to do the NBA bracket challenge before it is too late. Now, I'm not going to get into many specifics in this, but I am going to do my best to try to predict who I believe is going to do great in the playoffs, who is going to go to the finals. I have a lot of great picks. I'm excited for this. So, guys, without any further ado, let's get right into my NBA playoff picks for the season. Now, I am lying a little bit. Before we get into it, though, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the button to be notified for every single time I upload. Let's get right into the video. Okay, so starting off, we are going to start off with the East because I believe the West is more fun this year. So the reason why I say the Cavaliers is because I believe the Atlanta Hawks will lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So now, Cavs versus Heat, I do believe that's going to be one of the more fun series, and it has a lot riding on it. As you know, the Cavs, they were one of the top seeds at one point, but now they dropped. But in the end, I'm still going to roll with the Miami Heat I'm going to go with the Heat in 6 games. That is my safe pick. I do believe the Heat can win in 6 games. Next up, we have 76ers versus the Toronto Raptors, another series I am truly looking forward to. And it's a rough one to pick because the Raptors, great young up-and-coming team, against the 76ers established with Joel Embiid, James Harden, and a bunch of role players that can really do damage in the playoffs. So I do believe this series will go to 7 games, but Philadelphia will win in Game 7. I just don't think that the Raptors have what it takes to advance in the playoffs regardless of who they have on their team. They have a great core. Now give it 2, maybe 1 more year, and they're going to be electric. Let Scotty Barnes develop for another year, and it'll be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Next up, we have the Bucks versus the Bulls. And as much as I want the Bulls to win, just because of Nikola Vucevic, that is literally the only reason why I would want the Bulls to win ever, I don't think they will. I personally think that the Bucks will take care of the Bulls in 5 games. And now, it's crazy to think, but that's just, the Bulls are struggling so much against anyone that's actually good. So, next up, we have Celtics versus Nets, 2 versus 7. And this is where I believe the first upset will happen. And it's not because the Celtics are a bad team. It's not because the Celtics are, not good enough. It's just the Nets just have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And those are 2 guys that I just do not want to count out. Now, the Nets are great. But remember, last year in the playoffs, Jason Tatum had to drop 50 points for the Celtics to even win 1 game. So I do believe this series will go to 6 games. But my overall winner will be the Brooklyn Nets with the first upset. Now, moving on to the West, we have the Phoenix Suns versus Clippers, Pelicans. Look, that's easy. The Suns, they're going to sweep whoever they play in the first round, especially if it's the Clippers now that they have no Paul George. I'm just saying. Now, we have the Mavericks versus the Jazz. This is a very weird series as Luka might not play because he's injured. And if Luka does not play, the Mavs have no chance. So, honestly, I'm going to roll with the Jazz in 6 games. I do believe that the Mavs will lose simply because Luka Doncic isn't going to be playing like Luka Doncic if he does play. Remember, he had that injury in the last game. Why was he even playing? Just let him play a minute and then just get it over with. But no, they play Luka and now he's injured. So, that really sucks. Now, next up, we have Warriors versus Nuggets. Extremely excited for this series. This series can go either way. Literally. The Nuggets, they could easily beat the Warriors, and the Warriors could easily beat the Nuggets. So, in that case, I do believe that the Golden State Warriors will win in 6 games. I know 6 is the safer pick, just because 2, 4. But I do believe that the Nuggets can at least steal 2 games, or they'll lose in 5 just because the Warriors are overloaded. And the Warriors have a lot to prove this year. This is sort of like their, hey, we're here and we're here to stay type of series. So it can be, we just have to see how that rolls for them. Next up, we have the Timberwolves versus the Grizzlies. This is the number 1 series that I am watching. This is the series I need to see and the series that I need a lot of. Timberwolves versus Grizzlies, 2 annoying, trash-talking teams. Young, annoying teams going up against each other. And it's honestly a series that I think that we are going to love. So in that case, I am going to roll with the Grizzlies, but I have the Grizzlies in 7 games. Remember, these are two young rosters that are going to be fighting as much as possible. And look, I personally think this is going to be one that we are going to absolutely love. Now, moving back into the East, we'll start off with the we'll do Sixers versus Heat. Now, this is a very interesting series because, the Heat, their superstar is Jimmy Butler, great player, but Jimmy Butler isn't on the same caliber as Embiid and Harden. Now, if Harden is putting up tour dates, then if Harden is putting up tour dates, the 76ers are going to play horrendous. So, I don't think that's going to happen. I actually think James Harden and Embiid are going to have a really good series this year. And again, I hope they do because, hey, it's good for basketball when the 76ers are good. So I'm going to roll with the 76ers in a 7-game series. 7 games, 76ers take it. Remember, the Heat, obviously, they're not the best team in the playoffs, but they have one of the better chemistries, and they are one of the better teams in the NBA based off of their performances and where they are. But remember, while they are the first seed, there are not many wins and losses separating many of these teams. Next up, Nets versus Bucks. Man, this is a difficult one, but here I have the Bucks beating the Nets again in the NBA. But this time last time it was also in 7 games. This time it will be in 7 games as well. Look, the Nets, they are a team to be feared, but again, if there's a team who can beat them, it is the Bucks. Now, granted, the Bucks beat them last year while the Nets were going through injuries, but regardless, I still think that this year the Milwaukee Bucks will beat the Nets again and advance to the conference finals. Now, moving on to the West, Suns versus Jazz. I do not believe in the Jazz that much, and I honestly believe the Suns can beat the Jazz in 5 games, which that's probably what's going to happen. Now, next up, we have the Warriors versus the Grizzlies, and this matchup is going to be awesome. Simply because Andre Iguodala versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, the Memphis Grizzlies had the last laugh after beating Stephen Curry and the Warriors in the play-in tournament. So, this year is going to be different because Stephen Curry is going to have 7 games at max, to do whatever he can do to get his team past it. Grizzlies, young, up-and-coming, hungry team, a team that really wants to make a deep run. And then you have the Warriors, experienced players, veterans with a young group of guys around them, which is going to be a phenomenal series to watch. I promise you, there's going to be a lot of chirping, a lot of arguing, a lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of toughness and just grittiness. But in the end, I think that the Warriors' experience will overmatch the Grizzlies, and the Warriors are going to win this series in 6 games. I do believe it'll be in 6 games just because the Grizzlies are a great team, but the Grizzlies are not at that level yet, but they can be easily. After this year, I fully expect the Grizzlies to be championship contenders, and I give them one more season, one more year of Ja Morant, they will be championship contenders. I truly believe that. Next up, Sixers versus Bucks, and I have to go with the Bucks. I'm going to go with the Bucks in 5 games against the 76ers because I look at the matchups, I look at the individuals, and the Bucks, they just have so many, such better players on their team in comparison to the 76ers when we talk about their supporting cast, when we talk about their defenders. The Bucks have what it takes and all of the necessary pieces to make a run right back into the finals. So that's why I truly believe that they actually will do it. And then on the other side, we have the Warriors versus the Suns. This is my dream playoff matchup. I truly hope this happens again. Well, not again, but I truly hope that we get this series in the playoffs. And this time, I pretty much believe, I sincerely believe that in the end, the Phoenix Suns are going to go back into the NBA Finals because the Suns have so much to prove. Last year, they said they made it because of injuries. If they make it this year, they can truthfully say, hey, we made it to the finals with no injuries to blame. Well, theoretically. And I do believe that they have everything they have everything that they need to beat the Warriors. So that's why I think they can beat the Golden State Warriors. I truly believe that. And again, we are going to have a Suns versus Bucks finals rematch, which is something I'm extremely excited for, something that I hope happens. I mean, the Bucks have all the great defensive, offensive pieces. The Suns, great defensive, offensive pieces. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. On the other side, you also have DeAndre Ayton. There's just it's last year's playoff games. They were such great games that could have gone any way. The Bucks could have easily lost to the Suns, who were up 2-0 on them, and then the Bucks won 4 in a row. But they won those games extremely tight. If it wasn't for Giannis's and one dunk, they could have lost that game. That was the same game Drew Holiday stripped Devin Booker, I'm sure, and then they won in Phoenix. If that doesn't happen, we could easily be looking at a 7-game series with the Suns possibly winning. So that is why this year I have the Phoenix Suns winning the NBA championship in 7 games. Now it's telling me to sign in, but I don't have none of that. So, as you can see, my pick for this year's NBA champion is going to be the Phoenix Suns, simply because they have so much more to prove. They have so much left to prove. And I promise you, a team that has lost in the finals always comes back stronger. We saw it with we didn't see it, but the Pistons did it. Kobe Bryant did it. The Spurs did it. The Heat did it. We see these teams that they lose in the finals the year prior, and then they come back stronger than ever on a mission to destroy the NBA. So that's why I wholeheartedly believe that the Phoenix Suns are going to be this year's NBA championships. If they can stay healthy, Chris Paul can play great, Devin Booker plays great, there's no one that's going to stop them, especially if they play stellar defense like they have been throughout the regular season. I truly do believe that the Phoenix Suns are going to be our NBA championships this year. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate all the love and support. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the button to be notified for every single time I upload. The grind will continue, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.